waste of time here. Well, I'm Michael Baltimore. Welcome to our discussion here. This, my friends, Dan Rose. How are you today, sir?
Well, I took some Dayquil on the way up here, and by taking it, I just kept drinking it as I was driving on the way up. So I'm a little loopy.
Talk about politics and how it's affecting people, and people didn't get what they wanted, and how they managed that, and things like that. So,
well, I think I've slipped into psychotic disavowal. I don't know what you're talking about. I think it's
if
19.
You can bottle that. We would like to have some of that for sure.
Nothing happened. I don't know what you're talking about.
I do not know.
I will say,
great.
One thing that did
great
happen.
Place to be.
Well, it's on this day a few years ago. I was born.
Happy birthday, my friend.
That's right.
This is wonderful news for all those people out there that thought you couldn't make it to this age. So,
well, looking at me, some people would say I didn't.
So how do you celebrate your birthday? I mean, you've got another year down and looking forward to the next. What do you do?
Well, I would say in the fetal position, crying in a corner, but that's how I celebrate every day. So maybe
that's most days. So happy birthday!
Thank you. Well, I think what we were going to talk about today, we sort of discussed this, is that it is a season, both this Thursday as well as in a few weeks ahead, for people to be gathered around the holiday dinner table.
Absolutely.
And there will be there is the possibility of conflict. It could be political. It could be ideological. It could be religious. There could be some tensions, and maybe we could discuss this as a way to navigate these concerns in a healthy manner, to preserve relationships with both yourself and the other as you navigate potentially harrowing times. All those active listening skills we're supposed to know and train others to have, right? That's a good thing to have at the dinner table.
Yeah,
to be
let's
able
get those.
To not listen for the moment that you can respond, but lean in and listen to see what the individual might need from you, or to just create a space where someone can speak, and once they've spoken, maybe that's enough, right? There's no whether it's the narcissistic individual who needs to blow up like a balloon, the depressive individual who seems to be bringing in the clouds. Both of those individuals, if you were to maybe active listen, I also may say something too. We need to think about what self-care looks like,
right?
Because the holidays are also supposed to be enjoyed by you.
Oh,
so we may want to think about. That's where I like these ideas, like practicing the pause, for instance. I use the example of me getting up and getting a glass of water. I was feeling uncomfortable, so I got up and left. I came back.
Right.
But you need to give yourself permission to be able to step away and disengage.
Great advice. Absolutely wonderful advice.
And we often in those instances don't give ourselves permission. We often and you may experience this, I know I do, when I'm around my family, I'm no longer the adult I was before I stepped into the room. I have a place within that family system. And so I often find myself almost regressing to the place, like there's a script that was prepared for me before I showed up.
Absolutely happens. There's no doubt about it. You will find yourself in that role. Yeah.
So my sister can say things that wouldn't bother me if anybody else said them, but she says them, and suddenly I can feel so incensed and under attack, right?
Right.
And it's partly because of this regress place. It's not necessarily her fault at all. It's just that this is sort of what we get stuck with.
Right.
So
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut in. I was just going to say that I guess it's your responsibility to find your way out of that role, and maybe accepting some of it, but maybe being yourself in that way.
Well, you have to give yourself permission to do all those things, because I think that's where that tyranny of automaticity, that tyranny of reflex, we just fall into those spaces, we read from the script, and we don't really realize that we don't empower ourselves to be able to do anything differently.
Right.
If you can remind yourself, I can do. I don't have to do this. I can breathe and be something different in this moment.
Right.
But that also takes us back to that idea of being able to generate that self-observing, that self-reflective function, that observing ego. I am here at the dinner table. I'm not a 10-year-old boy. I'm an adult.
Right.
This is my family. I love them. We all love each other. The reason we gather together, and we always gather together, is because it's important for us to do that. We love each other. We want to support each other. We're human, though. Sometimes we get on each other's nerves. Sometimes we want to strangle each other. Sometimes feel all sorts of things. This is part of what it is to be gathered among other human beings. And you breathe a sigh and say, it is what it is. And I have permission to be able to get up if I need to. I have permission to be able to self-care in whatever case that may be. I don't suggest, gulping vodka, because I think that would have the opposite effect. But you could push away from the table, walk around the house, and come back in if you needed to. That wouldn't be so bad.
Okay.
Part of what I liked about Heinz Kohut is he said that all of us have the self by its very nature is a narcissistic structure. And we have to find some way to manage our self state. And that is, all of us have a narcissistic equilibrium we have to hold on to. We have to keep up.
Yep.
So you can do the same thing. It may not be as extreme as the individual has a true narcissistic character structure. But we want to be able to see the humanity in yourself and the people across the table. And in doing so, I think it's much easier for us to come together in a place of love and connection. Even those family members who are more difficult, you may find that if there was a little more compassion, that some of the more problematic people in your family would be less problematic.